At 7:18 a.m. on July 22, 2024, Richard Sorensen stood beside a Wintersteiger TS 3000 seed combine in a perennial ryegrass field near Junction City, Oregon, watching his moisture meter show 14.8%, while his seed buyer contract with DLF Seeds required harvest moisture between 12 to 13% for premium quality payment. 62 years old. Third-generation grass seed farmer, 1,800 acres under management producing ryegrass, fescue, and bluegrass for global turf markets. The weather forecast on his phone showed rain arriving in 48 hours, with 4 consecutive days of precipitation predicted. Delaying harvest would push moisture above 18%, where seed germination rates dropped below the 85% minimum specification, and payment penalties eliminated profit margins entirely. Standard practice said, wait 2 more days for moisture to drop naturally to specification levels before harvesting. His processing facility was already at 88% capacity with incoming seed from earlier harvests. His 3 combines were coordinated across different variety plantings with overlapping maturity dates. And missing this harvest window meant losing $142,000 in revenue from 320 acres of premium export-grade perennial ryegrass. Sorensen adjusted the combine cylinder speed to maximum gentle threshing. They'd harvest immediately at 14.8% moisture, run the seed through supplemental drying at the processing facility, and accept the 8 cents per pound drying cost rather than risk rain damage destroying the crop entirely. Willamette Valley's grass seed operation functions as the world's dominant turf and forage seed production region, 500,000 plus acres, producing 550 million pounds annually, supplying 60% of global grass seed through specialized cultivation of perennial ryegrass, tall fescue, fine fescue, and Kentucky bluegrass varieties requiring separate harvest timing, gentle mechanical handling, and precision cleaning systems. Every June through September, combines equipped with modified threshing mechanisms operating at reduced speeds harvest mature seed heads without damage. Moving harvested seed immediately to 100-plus processing facilities where air screen cleaners remove chaff and debris. Gravity separators sort by density. Indent cylinder separators sort by shape. And color sorters remove diseased or damaged seeds before bagging for shipment to turf installation contractors, forage farmers, and lawn care retailers across 6 continents. This is agriculture serving aesthetic and livestock feed markets, where seed purity measures to 99.5% standards. Germination rates must exceed 85%. And varietal certification requires documented genetic lineage. An industry where harvest moisture affects quality more than yield. Processing precision determines market access, and export specifications developed for European sports fields and Asian golf courses govern Oregon farming practices. Richard Sorensen learned grass seed farming from his father, who learned from his grandfather, who established the family operation in 1962 when Willamette Valley transitioned from filbert orchards and vegetable production to specialized grass seed cultivation for the emerging turf industry. His grandfather had grown 180 acres of ryegrass, harvesting with conventional grain combines that damaged 15 to 20% of seed through aggressive threshing, selling to regional buyers at commodity prices. His father expanded to 640 acres in 1985, invested in specialized seed combines with adjustable cylinder speeds and custom concave designs that reduced seed damage to 3 to 5%. And developed export relationships with European buyers paying premium prices for certified varieties. Sorensen took over in 1998, expanded to 1,800 acres, rotating multiple grass species, and invested $2.8 million in harvest and processing infrastructure, coordinating variety-specific timing across June to September. But the operation's profitability depended on hitting narrow moisture windows, where seed quality met specification while weather cooperated and processing capacity remained available. variables that rarely aligned perfectly. The Wintersteiger TS3000 combined Sorensen operated cost $385,000 new in 2021. The machine weighed 28,000 pounds, featured a specialized seed header spanning 14 feet that lifted lodged grass stems, a threshing cylinder operating at adjustable speeds from 450 to 850 revolutions per minute for variety, specific gentle handling, and cleaning sieves that separated seed from chaff while minimizing loss. The combine processed 8 to 12 acres daily when running, slower than wheat harvesters processing 80-plus acres daily. But grass seed required careful handling where aggressive threshing cracked seed coats and reduced germination rates. The machine's moisture monitoring system provided real-time feedback on harvest conditions. Weather windows provided zero flexibility. The economics were variety-dependent and quality-sensitive. At contract rates of $1.42 per pound for certified perennial ryegrass seed, meeting 99% purity and 90% germination specifications, each acre yielding 800 pounds generated $1,136 in gross revenue. Seed costs ran $95 per acre for certified parent seed maintaining genetic purity. Fertilizer added $185 per acre. Grass seed required precise nitrogen timing and rates. Herbicides for weed control, $125 per acre. Contaminant species reduced seed purity below specification. Your harvest costs, including specialized equipment and gentle handling protocols, $145 per acre. Cleaning and processing to export grade, $88 per acre. Certification fees and quality testing, $42 per acre. Total costs, $680 per acre against $1,136 revenue. That left $456 profit per acre before equipment depreciation and land costs. Across 1,800 acres in mixed varieties, Sorensen generated $2.04 million in gross revenue and maybe $820,800 in operating profit. After depreciation and loan payments, actual net income around $298,000. But if moisture exceeded 13% at harvest, buyers imposed 8 cents per pound supplemental drying charges, reducing profit to $392 per acre. A 14% margin reduction. If rain damaged seed, reducing germination to 82%. The crop graded as forage feed at 32 cents per pound, and profit collapsed to negative $424 per acre. The margin between export premium and feed grade was $1.10 per pound, the difference between prosperity and catastrophic loss. At 9:40 a.m., Sorensen had harvested 42 acres. The seed was coming off at consistent 14.9% moisture. Too wet for direct sale, but within range for supplemental drying. His processing coordinator radioed from the facility. "Richard, we're backed up. Current drying capacity is fully committed for the next 36 hours. Your seed will need to wait in temporary storage until Wednesday." Temporary storage of wet seed created its own problems. Piles of 14.9% moisture seed began heating from respiration within 12 to 18 hours, creating hot spots where temperatures rose above 100 degrees Fahrenheit and germination viability declined. The operation needed immediate drying, or the seed quality would degrade in storage. Big Sorensen called Central Valley Seed Cleaning, a commercial processor 22 miles away. They had available drying capacity at premium rates, 12 cents per pound versus his facility's 8 cents per pound cost. The premium drying would consume an additional $12,800 across the 320-acre harvest. His profit margin kept shrinking with each accommodation to timing and capacity constraints. His daughter Emma arrived at 11:50 a.m. to help coordinate the multi-site processing logistics. 35 years old, holding an agronomy degree from Oregon State. She'd worked the operation for 9 years, while also managing the family's seed cleaning facility that processed grass seed for 18 neighboring farms. The cleaning business generated $420,000 annually in revenue, with 35% margins. Better returns than farming with predictable year-round income. Emma understood what her father was learning through crisis management. Agricultural service businesses captured value that production farming could no longer retain. Dad, we're paying premium rates for commercial drying because our facility lacks capacity. Meanwhile, our facility is processing seed for neighbors at standard rates. We're subsidizing their operations while destroying our own margins. Those neighbors are customers. We can't prioritize our seed over their contracted processing. Then the business model is broken. We're operating a processing facility that serves everyone except us efficiently. Sorensen knew she was right. The grass seed industry had developed cooperative processing infrastructure in the 1970s to 80s, where farmers built shared facilities and processed each other's crops. But as farms consolidated and specialized, the cooperative model created conflicts where facility capacity became a constraint rather than an advantage. Some farmers had responded by building dedicated processing facilities, serving only their own production. Others had exited farming entirely to operate pure processing businesses. The middle path, farming while operating shared processing, generated the worst of both worlds. By 3:20 p.m., the combine had completed 168 acres. The seed, 134,400 pounds at 14.9% moisture, was being trucked to Central Valley for premium rate drying. Sorensen calculated the final economics. 168 acres at 800 pounds per acre, yielding 134,400 pounds total. Revenue at $1.42 per pound. $190,848. Operating costs, $114,240. Premium drying charges at 12 cents per pound, $16,128. Net profit, $60,480. Which that's $360 per acre versus the projected $456 per acre if weather and processing capacity had aligned perfectly. The 21% margin reduction came entirely from factors beyond his control. Moisture timing determined by weather, processing capacity determined by facility scheduling that prioritized other farmers' seed. The rain arrived July 24th as forecast. Sorensen had completed the 320-acre perennial ryegrass harvest just in time, but the remaining 280 acres of tall fescue and 190 acres of fine fescue, varieties that matured 10 days later, got rained on while standing. The precipitation delayed those harvests by 6 days. When he finally cut the fescue August 1st to 4th, germination testing showed 84% on tall fescue, barely meeting minimum spec, and 79% on fine fescue, failing specification entirely. Of the tall fescue sold at full price with quality penalties deducted, $1.28 per pound versus $1.38 contracted rate. The fine fescue graded as livestock forage at 34 cents per pound. His fescue operations, projected for $182,000 combined profit, generated $42,000 profit on tall fescue and $67,000 loss on fine fescue. Total, $25,000 loss across 470 acres. Richard Sorensen compiled final numbers for 2024 on September 18th after completing all variety harvests. Perennial ryegrass, $190,848 revenue, $130,368 costs, including premium drying, $60,480 profit. Tall fescue, $287,360 revenue with quality penalties, $238,000 costs, $49,360 profit. Fine fescue, $51,680 feed grade revenue, $118,400 costs, $66,720 loss. Kentucky bluegrass, harvested under optimal conditions, $196,000 revenue, $156,000 costs, $40,000 profit. Combined totals, $726,888 revenue, being $642,768 costs, $84,120 profit for the year. His projected profit had been $298,000. The weather timing and processing constraints had destroyed 72% of expected earnings. He met with Emma on September 25th to discuss succession and business structure. Emma presented analysis showing the seed cleaning facility generated $147,000 in profit annually, with minimal weather risk, while the farming operation generated $84,000 in good years and losses in bad years. Her proposal: transition the farm to lease operation, renting land to larger grass seed producers, maintain and expand the processing facility as the core business, and capture consistent margins from service provision rather than accepting production volatility. Emma, your grandfather established this farm in 1962. 3 generations of grass seed expertise, varietal development, on export relationships. We're just going to become landlords and processors? Dad, the expertise doesn't disappear. It gets deployed in processing quality control and customer consultation. The relationships transfer to facility services. But the production risks and margin compression make farming unviable at our scale. Farms running 6,000 plus acres can absorb weather losses and processing constraints. We can't. She showed him the numbers. Regional consolidation had reduced Willamette Valley grass seed farms from 420 operations in 2000 to 180 in 2024, with average farm size increasing from 980 acres to 2,800 acres. The survivors were either large enough to build dedicated processing infrastructure or specialized enough to command premium varietal prices. Mid-sized operations like Sorensen's, too large to operate simply, or too small to achieve economies of scale, were disappearing into one of 3 outcomes: consolidation into larger farms, transition to processing/service businesses, or complete exit from agriculture. Richard Sorensen leased 1,800 acres to a regional grass seed corporation managing 8,400 acres across Lynn and Benton counties in spring 2025. The lease generated $420 per acre annually, $756,000 in predictable income versus the $84,000 to $298,000 variable farming profit. He retained and expanded the seed cleaning facility, investing $680,000 in additional drying capacity and color sorting equipment. The expanded facility processed 24 million pounds annually for 32 client farms, generating $840,000 in revenue with $294,000 in profit. Emma assumed management of the processing operation, implementing efficiency improvements that increased capacity 28% by 2027. Willamette Valley's 500,000 acres continue producing 550 million pounds of grass seed annually, supplying 60% of global demand, shipping to turf installers in 47 countries requiring 99% plus purity and 85% plus germination rates. The harvest runs June through September, regardless of farm ownership structures. The processing facilities clean and sort seed regardless of who grew it. The system functions through expertise that family operations developed, but can no longer apply profitably at mid-size scales. The seed flows to golf courses in South Korea, soccer pitches in Germany, and residential lawns across North America. The families transition from growing seed to processing seed to serving farms that replace them. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us preserve these histories of American agriculture's transformation. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and whether you understand the scale pressures reshaping specialty seed production. Thank you for keeping their stories alive.